So let's get started. I'm Eric Stager. I'm the president of Travis Audubon. I'd like to welcome you to this continuation of our series of lunchtime talks that have been very popular. And I think today's will be no exception. The topic for today's talk is winter ecology of the golden-cheeked warbler. I just wanted to make we all feel here in Austin like the golden-cheeked warbler is our bird, it's our mascot for Travis Audubon. But we often forget, the whole life cycle of this bird. This bird actually spends most of its year not in central Texas, but in the highlands of southern Mexico through Central America. I was fortunate enough to visit Guatemala 2 years ago on a birding trip. And in the central highlands of Guatemala, we ran into a mixed feeding flock of birds that included about 6 golden-cheeked warblers. And I have to say, that was one of the highlights of my trip to Guatemala, was getting to see our familiar golden-cheeked warbler, mixed with all these other North American warblers and a bunch of other Central American species in a big mixed feeding flock. So I'm going to, hopefully you all get a lot out of this. We'll run this video. And if you have any questions, again, hopefully Eric can join us while the video is playing, but go ahead and put your questions in the chat box. And if you're not already on mute, go ahead and go on mute. And let me go ahead and introduce Eric. And again, hopefully we'll get to meet him here shortly. Since 2010, Eric Hernandez Molina has collaborated with national and international institutions in the development and implementation of comprehensive conservation programs for wild bird species in the Mexican Southeast. He currently works with Pro Natura Sur, a Mexican NGO in southern Mexico, and collaborates in the coordination of the research committee of the golden-cheeked warbler in the Alliance for the Conservation of Pine Oak Forests in Mesoamerica. So hopefully we'll get to meet Eric here shortly, and I think we can go ahead and run the video.
Okay, I have the video on my screen ready. I'm going to share my screen, and Eric, I will ask for your help just to make sure that the sound is working properly.
Sure.
So let me just get set up here. So first of all,
I can see it.
My screen. Great.
Hello, I am Eric Hernandez Molina. I am a biologist specializing in birds. I have been collaborating for more than 10 years in studies on winter ecology of golden-cheeked warblers in southern Mexico, considered the region with the greatest biological diversity in the country. I work in Pro Natura Sur, a non-profit organization that carries out environmental conservation actions. Apart from Pro Natura, there are other organizations with very similar goals in Central American countries. And since 2003, we have formed the Alliance for the Conservation of Mesoamerican Pine Oak Forest and its umbrella species, the golden-cheeked warbler. The golden-cheeked warbler is a species listed as endangered by the International Union for Conservation of Nature. It is a highly specialized neotropical migratory habitat bird, nesting in the mature forest of ash juniper with oaks in central Texas, while in its non-reproductive residence sites in southern Mexico and Central America, it depends on temperate forests with pines and oaks. In the breeding sites, the golden-cheeked warbler does not associate with other species to search for food. Its nets are made solely from juniper bark and may include roots, grasses, and cobwebs. This association of ash juniper and oaks is only found in the region called Texas Hill Country. After reproduction, the golden cheeks must eat enough to recharge their fat stores and thus obtain the ability to migrate south. During its migration, it is estimated that it travels between 1,500 to 2,500 kilometers between its breeding sites and the tropics. On this trip, it mainly uses the temperate forest corridor of La Sierra Madre Oriental in Mexico. I have had the pleasure of visiting the breeding sites of the golden-cheeked warbler in the Texas Hill Country, However, in this presentation, I would like to share with you some of what we have learned during this stay in the tropical forest mountains of North Central America, dominated mainly by pine and oak trees, a bottleneck of forest that links North America with South America, encompassing portions of Chiapas and Oaxaca in Mexico, Guatemala, El Salvador, Honduras, and northern Nicaragua. These pine oak forests were one of the main scenarios in which the so-called Great Biotic Exchange took place, when both subcontinents were connected in geological times past. In this region, more than 40 species of oaks and 10 species of pines have been recorded. In these forests, neotropical migratory and resident species come together to form mixed forest flocks, being assemblages of insectivorous birds which seek food together. This provides them with greater chances of success in capturing insects, as well as protection against predators. The curious thing about these bird assemblages is that each species does a different job. There are species that seek food mainly in the treetops, others that do so in the understory, others, such as the black and white warbler, in the bark of the tree trunks and branches. During the studies carried out by the Pine Oak Alliance, near to 80 species of birds associated with these insectivorous flocks have been documented. These flocks are made up of different groups of birds, such as Vireos, similar to warblers, but with slower movements, thicker and hooked bills, and plumage is mostly drab. Flycatchers are much quieter, tend to perch in higher and more open areas, aiding the detection of potential predators and benefit from fleeing insects. Species of woodpeckers, woodcreepers, chloropingus, bush tits, tanagers, gnatcatchers are also associated, all of them mainly insectivorous. However, the best represented group is that of warblers, and personally, my favorite group, due to diversity of colors and foraging strategies, are the soul of these assemblages of birds. Within this group, there is the Vireos complex, a group of species genetically closely related and therefore possesses very similar plumage characteristics. They are migratory, breed in North America, and 4 of the 5 species can be found in these mixed forest flocks. The black-throated green warbler breeds in the north and northeast of North America, in deciduous forests. The hermit warbler breeds in the coniferous forests of the Northwest, and it is a specialist bird of coniferous trees. Townsend's warbler breeds in the western United States, while the golden-cheeked breeds only in the Texas Hill Country. These 4 species migrate south and can be observed in the same flock in the temperate forests of northern Central America. In the Pine Oak Alliance, we have developed a protocol for the study of these flocks and the golden-cheeks. This protocol reduces the margin of error and makes the data obtained in Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador, Nicaragua, and southern Mexico compatible. Robust data have been analyzed to know the abundance of golden-cheeked warblers. We also obtained data on the composition of mixed forest flocks and the trend of the species that make up these assemblages. The mean number of bird species within a flock was 12.4 plus less 0.2, and the mean number of individuals was 25.0 plus less 0.5. That the golden-cheeked has an altitudinal preference for temperate forests and altitudes between 4,500 and 7,800 feet above sea level. And outside this altitudinal range, they are scarce or absent. We have sampled in different types of vegetation, and it is known that the species has a preference to forests where oak is dominant. However, we obtained that the golden-cheeked has a higher density in pine, oak, and sweet gum forest. Also, The flocks were more diverse and abundant in this type of vegetation. Although to say that it is abundant, it is relative. This species is so rare that it has an average of 0.86 individuals per flock. And in 8 years of study, we have detected a decrease in the index of individuals per flock. However, it is not the only species that show this trend. Townsends and hermit warblers also show a declining trend, while the black-throated green warbler does not show a clear trend. We can infer that this is possible due to the fact that the black-throated green is more flexible in using different types of habitats and altitudes, while the golden-cheeked, Townsends, and hermit warblers are especially temperate forest birds. In the temperate forests of northern Central America, the greatest threats are the chains of land used to agricultural fields, fires, cattle ranching, illegal logging of pine for construction, and oak for charcoal and firewood. The Pine Oak Alliance of Central America has mainly created a strategy to reduce the threats in the temperate forests of northern Central America. Actions are currently being carried out for the inclusion of high conservation values in forest management, creating capacities and strengthening forest institutions and communities for a sustainable use of their forests, and thus maintain economically productive forests and rich in biological diversity.
Are we back?
We are back.
All right, and Eric did not join us, I guess.
No, not yet.
It's too bad. Maybe we can get him to reschedule.
Yeah, we can talk a little bit about some other important things that this group is working on, since we can't ask Eric questions about this particular habitat, but also we can, Eric, maybe you can share some of your experience in seeing the birds in Central America, what it's like, what that's like, because they do have really different behavior than they do when they're here on their breeding
Right,
ground.
they do. And one of the things that I learned about is how difficult it is to know much about the wintering ecology, because it's so hard to survey birds. You know, when we do bird surveys here during the breeding season, of course, we're listening to territorial males. And, you know, every male is singing. And if you're out there, you can count the number of singing males and get a good idea with how many you know, birds are nesting on your piece of property. But that is very difficult to do in Central America, where you encounter these flocks. And we had a couple of flocks that probably had 80 to 100 birds in them. And there would be, you know, a few, you know, maybe a few golden cheeks mixed in. But how do you survey when they're not singing? You know, it's just very difficult to detect the individual birds in these flocks. So one of the things I wanted to ask Eric was, how do they, you know, what is the kind of the methodology for how they're trying to survey these birds? But it was interesting that even in Guatemala, a lot of the local folks seem to know about the golden-cheeked warbler, even though it is, you know, even for them, it's a very rare bird. But it's endangered, and people know that. And so we actually encountered, there was a mural, I don't know if you all saw it in Guatemala, but there was a mural somewhere of a golden-cheeked warbler that some school kids had painted after they did a kind of a kids in birding class. So anyway, it was really interesting, and I'd like to hear more from Eric about, you know, how do they get this information about, you know, where these birds spend the winter. Because it, you know, it's a big area, you know, from southern Mexico all the way through Honduras and Nicaragua. But they're such a low density species. How do you, you know, how do you figure out, you know, where they are? Anyway, so
Eric's colleague Claudia just joined the call, and she might be able to tell us some about this while we wait for Eric. Claudia, we're so sorry about the confusion about daylight savings time. But this is Claudia Macias. She is on staff at ProNatura Store. And Claudia, we just watched Eric's video, so we know a little bit about the golden cheek on its territory, on its habitat when it's with you. I also want, if you know about some of the methodologies that they use to find the birds, that would be great to know. But I also want you to talk about Chipolo and your work with the students and your native language projects. So feel free to take it away. We're here for you. Yes.
Yes, thank you. I'm very sorry this happened. We didn't know the change of the time.
We didn't even think about it. Yeah.
I saw your email and I was calling Eric. Hey, Eric, they're waiting for you. Your video it's now transmitted anyway. Anyway, I'm here.
We will find a time that Eric can come talk
to us.
Don't
yes,
worry.
Thank you.
Yes, yes.
He was so eager, so happy to be in this talk, but there will be another chance, I'm sure. So thank you very much. And yes, the methodology, it's a good question, because when we started in the early 90s, we started studying migratory birds in general, or neotropical migrants. And we were doing point counts, right? That's like the typical method for surveying the birds, doing point counts. And we were having some golden-cheeked warbler records, but we were doing censuses since 1990 and 1992 or 93. In that time, we got about 46 records of golden-cheek by point counts. And we were very happy because we have a lot of data by that time. But we realized that it was, of course, a rare bird, very difficult to see, very difficult to identify, because all these, the similar pattern of plumage with the other complex, the Vireos complex, the other Setophagus, the other group, the other warblers. So we were also exchanging information with colleagues from Guatemala, Honduras, and Nicaragua, and El Salvador, that they were having also golden-cheeked warbler records. And we were talking, hey, we have these records. It's a very important bird. It's very rare, endangered. So that was like the beginning of the formation of the Pine Oak Alliance. The birders that we started talking about these records and talking about, hey, this bird is actually wintering in our lands. I mean, from Chiapas to El Salvador, because by that time the literature say that at least in Chiapas was only a transient bird, not a wintering one. But we were recording the golden-cheek all along the winter. So we realized it was actually wintering. So at the end of the 90s, in the 2002 or so, we started to discuss that the methodology of point counts was not good enough for recording golden-cheeks. So we started, and we also review the work of John Rappel and David King. David King from U.S. Forest Service, and John Rappel, I think it was in the Smithsonian Institution. And they were also surveying golden-cheeked warblers along Chiapas and Central America. And they were the first one that discovered or analyzed that following flocks, it was a good thing or a good option for having more records of golden-cheek. So we used that approach, and we were like making, polishing the methodology based on experience looking for the birds. So we came up with this standardized protocol for the golden-cheeked warbler in the wintering grounds. And that means for you just go to the forest, and well, another very important thing is that we learned, it was the golden-cheek always prefers quercus or oaks, right? Not pine. in the forest, the natural forest here it's a mix of pine oak. But the warbler, the golden cheek, is 99% of the time using oaks, not pine. So that was a key, of course, key for choosing those forests that had this mixed condition. So we were like identifying where we have those patches of mixed forests in all along Mesoamerica, from Chiapas to Honduras, Nicaragua, El Salvador, and Guatemala. So with all these partners in the all countries, we were like exploring, choosing that mixed forest condition and start like publishing the protocol, following flocks. Oh, Eric is there. So that's the methodology. We discovered that following flocks, I mean, first thing is to choose a mixed forest condition, right? And second thing is, if you find a flock and follow it. And at the beginning of protocol say that we need to follow for 4 hours, 4. And the technicians were really good on following a flock for 5 hours. It's very difficult, you know the mountains. But after several years of using that protocol, we came up with the decision that following the flock for just 1.5 hours, it was good enough to decide if we have a golden cheek or not in that flock. So I don't know how are we doing in time, and I don't know if with Eric.
We're doing great. Yeah, it's 12:25 and we can go until 1 o'clock. It's great. Eric, welcome and thank you so much. We really enjoyed your video, and apologies for our silly daylight savings time that caused so much confusion. It's our fault. Please forgive us for not communicating that properly.
Hi all. I'm so sorry. Apologize.
Nope,
I was very confused about the sorry.
Okay. Please
I was
don't
working
worry.
and I saw the message of Claudia. They changed the time. Oh.
We all hate daylight savings time. Well, I'll speak for all of us. It's not our favorite. So Claudia was just answering a question that Eric Steger had about the methodology of how you were tracking the birds in flocks, because it is challenging to find them. And we were saying how their behavior is so different, because here we've already been hearing the golden cheeks singing their heads off, looking for their mates, and they're really loud when they're here, but they're quiet and they sort of blend in with all their other friends when they're in your spot. So Eric, I'll let you go back if you have other Eric Steger.
Yes.
Eric Molina.
Yes, welcome, Eric. I guess I'll just turn it over to you. We just finished watching your video, so if you want to, follow up on that, and we'll see if anybody has any questions for Eric, please put them in the chat, and we'll get to those. Go ahead, Eric.
Yeah. It's great to know I arrived in the right moment. It's better late than never.
Absolutely. I'm glad you sent us that video.
Yeah, you like it? I hope so.
Very much.
¿Tienes una presentación, Eric?
Yeah, I have a short PowerPoint slides about, it's like a kind of quiz about the parents' complex species and plumages. I would like to show what we see in this forest, in the temperate forests of North and Central America. It really is a nice challenge. It's one of my favorite works in the field trip, because it's like it's a challenge, really. It's very nice. I will look very quick my presentation.
We made you a co-host, so you should be able to share your screen with your PowerPoint.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
I have a lot of files. I need to find the right file.
Claudia, while Eric's working on finding the file, there was a question in the chat about what sort of protections there are for golden cheeks when they're in Mexico and Central America. If there are protections you can talk about.
Sure. Yes, I was writing to answer some questions. First, we also have daylight savings, but it's gonna be in 2 weeks. So they're not synchronized. And well, protections, I guess you means preservation, right? Of
like
the
any legal protections for the birds when they're there.
Yes, of course. Yes, we have several different schemes of protections. We have some federal scheme protection managed by National Commission for Protected Areas, and we also have state level protections. And I'm speaking for all the countries, right, from Chiapas to El Salvador, and all the wintering grounds of the golden cheek. And also, since about I guess 10 or 15 years mostly in Guatemala and Chiapas, we have been working with private land protections. Schemes like we name voluntary schemes or private land protection, community protection and private owners protection also. And we have some legal schemes for that. In Guatemala particularly, they have they call municipality reserves. That's like a county or municipality level formal schemes for protections. But we also have another schemes like for example, in forests that have wood management, legal management for harvesting food or other non-timber products like resins or palms. They have to do these management plans for the land, and they have to identify. They have to do like a mapping or zonification, and they have to identify 3 main areas: the production areas, the restoring areas, the areas that need to be recovered, and also conservation areas. So that's not a scheme for like a preservation itself of nature, of biodiversity, but it's part of the management program they need to have. So those schemes, and also through the alliance, this PINOC Mesoamerican Alliance, we have been working for 17 years, and we did an evaluation of 2019. We were like systematizing how much effort we do through the alliance work to increase the protection of areas, and we increased almost 400,000 hectares of PINOC through all these different schemes. Of course, in some countries, it was possible to work mostly on the federal schemes, and others more on private lands, other municipalities, and so. But that's the kind of protection we have been promoting. Yes, we are based in Chiapas. Eric and I are based in Chiapas, in Mexico. Well, we have partners in the other countries. When are the golden-cheeked warbler first seen each season in the wintering habitats? I think the earliest record we have is July. The beginning of July, but it's rare. It's not the common, right? That's the like the earliest, but mostly September, October are the more common sightings.
Yes, I'm ready for.
Eric, ¿estás listo? Adelante.
Yeah, it's a kind of quiz about the different plumages of the complex birens, the black rodent, golden-cheeked, hermit, thousands. And if you want to do this quiz, you need a pen and a paper to try to get the right identification. Okay, we start. Yeah, this is the number one. What species and kind of plumage? This is number two. What kind of species, sex, age? Number three. Oh, sorry. Number three. Four. I'm doing the quiz. Number six. We have 12 kind of plumage here. That is that we can find in this forest right now. Sorry. And it's all.
If any of our members get all these right, we're going to send them down to you, Eric, so they can help survey in Mexico.
Excuse me?
If any of our members get all these right, we're going to send them down to Mexico to help you survey. We don't see all these different plumages here in Texas.
Yes, yes. No, it's difficult to see all these plumage in Texas. Maybe during the migration, you can see some of them. And here we have all these different plumage, and for the beginners, and for me in the first season was really a big challenge, because they are very similar with yellow, black, green, white colors in their plumage. And this first one it's a Townsend's Warbler. It's a female adult. This second one is to Townsend's Warbler. It's a young female. It's very, the key is the yellow in the chest, and the green in the back, the auriculars, the mark in the auriculars too. The ball, it's very bold, different to black-throated and golden-cheek. This is in this image is easy, but in the field it's very difficult. This guy, the black-throated green, is the most complicated species to mistake with the golden cheeks. Even expert people in the flocks, we have problems sometimes. We need to be 100% sure it's not a black-throated green and it's a golden cheeks. And we need to check the black back, and these yellow marks not always is visible in the field. Sometimes looks all whitish, and you can confuse it's a golden cheek. This is somebody wants to say what the species and plumage. It's a golden cheek. It's a female, immature plumage, first or second year. It's very white in the chin and chest. It's almost green in the back, but the line, the A line is very distinctive. It's not confused with this. This is easy. It's a hermit warbler, but I know some people sometimes confuse with golden cheeks because the cheek is very bright, and sometimes in your first impression people thinks, oh, golden cheek, but no, they have the black back or grayish, but they need the A line and the marks in the flanks. This is a black-throated green, female adult. It's almost similar to number 3, but the black is not very extensive as the male. Number 8 is a hermit warbler, a female adult. Number 9, it's a black-throated green, first year female. Yeah, it's very similar to the female of Golden-cheeked Warbler, with the green back, with the back is like a very bright green. Sorry, number 10, it's a golden cheek, a female adult. The key is the black back. Number 11, it's a Townsend's male adult, or I say adult, but the immature male is very, very similar. It's very difficult to say if it's an adult or a immature individual. We know sometimes for these marks in this white patch, if you see the immature plumages here, like this, has a little black stripes. Like here, Sibley draw very well this key. The immature individuals has this little bit dark in this white patch. You can see very well in pictures, but in the field it's difficult. And this is the golden cheek. I think it's the most complicated in the field. These 4 species, the other species are no problem. Sometimes the females, the young ones, you don't know sometimes what kind of species is because they have very draft. The plumage is very draft, but no problem to confuse with the golden cheeks. Yeah, if somebody has all the right in this quiz.
Did anybody get them all right? I didn't.
But,
Eric,
yes.
there was a question in the chat that Claudia answered about the mystery of the banded birds. We do a lot of work banding golden cheeks here, especially on the Balcones Canyonlands Preserve. And Claudia says you've never seen a banded bird. Do you have any idea about what that could be about?
I'm guessing it's because it's looking for a needle in a haystack, but
yeah,
I wonder how many total birds in Texas have been banded and what the chances are that you'll see a color banded golden cheeked, Eric.
Yeah, in a good season, we saw 30 birds in 3 months, between 20 and 30 birds, no more.
Right.
That is a good season. This last season, we don't have any record because we were in other places and no records of golden cheeks. And it's very difficult to find these banded birds. I asked to the people from Fort Hood, and they told me they are banded between 6,000 and 7,000 individuals in the last years.
Right. Yeah, just almost impossible to actually find one if you're only seeing about 30 of them a year.
Yeah.
Right. Are we caught up on other questions?
There was a question.
Eric, would you like to talk? I'm sorry.
No, they were just asking a question about getting the local people involved in conservation, and I think this connects to Claudia, what you were talking about with private landowners, and how important are these birds to people who live in Chiapas and in Central America? Are they recognized as being, worth conserving, worth protecting?
Well, yes, to answer the question, yes, we all the countries involved in this initiative, in this alliance, we all are working with local communities. We all have to do it because because there is several communities or people living in our countries. We don't have any protected area or any place without people. Even within the protected areas, we have people. So we need to work with them. And also, especially in Guatemala and Chiapas, indigenous populations, Mayan indigenous populations, live in pine oak forests. Most of them. There's some also indigenous people in the rainforest, but mostly in the pine oak, in the temperate forest. So yeah, we have a lot of challenges, you can imagine, because the use of the land is in some cases it's being good, because these people is ancient cultures. They have been living for centuries, and some they actually do a very good management of the forest, a very good use, but some others not. So we have yeah, several challenges, and we in all countries except of Nicaragua and El Salvador, because the winter grounds of the golden cheek is very tiny. But in Honduras, Guatemala, and Chiapas, where is the more extension of the winter habitat of the golden cheek, we all do forest management strategies, actions, forest fires, and also we have been looking for opportunities to protect more land, or to do planning, right? Like territorial planning, like management plans, or watershed management plans, or those kind of actions. I don't know if you ask for other topics. Sorry, Nicole.
No, that's great. Well, you want to talk a little bit about Chipolo while we're here? I actually have one.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
tell us about the work you've been doing with the Mayan speakers.
Yes, of course. Chipilo has inspired us a lot. These tiny birds. Oh, actually, yes, I was forgetting something that you asked, Nicole. How much the local people know about Chipilo? They actually don't know much, because it's so tiny birds, and we are talking that they are up in the trees, and the trees can be, the forest can be 30, 40 meters tall. It's very difficult to see. And also to see a flock of neotropical birds and other resident birds, tiny ones, mostly Vireos, warblers, you can just see the movements, right? And they are very quick, so it's very hard to tell apart. They all call chinitas. They all are chinitas, right? Or yeah, reinitas. They are all the same. So it's been a work that we have been doing, like explaining them, local peoples, there's a lot of diversity on those flocks, and what's the importance of those flocks, and what's the importance of the forest. So the main, like, let's say the main issues, because the local people get interested in protecting and recovering their forest, is water, of course, as in any place, right? Water, because these mountains are upper in the watershed, so they are very important for collecting water, for water sequestration, or I don't know the right word, but so all the people depends on the forest for getting water, and also, of course, different resources from the forest, right? Like wood, like medicinal plants, a lot of them, and very particular in Chiapas and in Guatemala, traditionals, they use a lot of plants, mostly epiphytes and shrubs, very traditional use, cultural and religions issues, for religion ceremonies. They use a lot. So they know that they depend on the mixed condition of the forest to have this kind of epiphytes, of this kind of diversity of flora or plants. So they appreciate that very much. So that's like the main focus. We have been working with this, with them for environmental services in general, not only the birds, which is a part of the environmental services, but not only the birds. And with the golden-cheeked, that was this wonderful idea of a couple of our technicians or field biologists many years ago, 2006, that they, by their own inspiration, they decided to write a story about this golden-cheeked warbler. They named Chipilo. Chipilo is because Chipe is the local name for the all warblers, right? All warblers here in Chiapas, in Mexico, it's chipes. Because of the sound they make, chip, 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 chip. That's why it's chipes. So these technicians name the character of the, yeah, chipe, right? Well, it's well written. So they make this a story, and it's very nice. It has a lot of real data or real information about an annual cycle of on the Chipilo's travel or Chipilo's efforts to go north and south, migration, nesting, wintering, and all the threats or the challenges the birds happen or face during their traveling. And they put also a little of fantasy, right? Thinking on the children. But the good thing was, since we were already working in alliance, they were including different names and of locations, real locations, or every country. So they were thinking that this book, this story, can be used in all along wintering grounds for outreach and education. And it was wonderful. We could print a lot of these books on those dates, on 2007 or so, and we distributed the book along the Central America countries, and we were also we were doing some educational actions with that. So it's been evolving, the idea of using Chipilo, and also we have connections with Texas, of course, many of several organizations of you with Travis Audubon and Fort Hood and TNC and Texas Parks and Wildlife Department and several others. And they were using the Chipilo story because thanks to Becky Pick, who used to be the biologist the specialist, golden-cheeked warbler specialist in Fort Hood, in Fort Hood, she was working for TNC by that time. Becky made efforts to translate it into English, and they were using it in schools. And so that link you sent, Nicole, thank you very much.
Yeah, I included in the chat is an article about the work that they have been doing, and we will have more of these Chipilos that we are going to sell in support of the work that Pronatura Store is doing. So you can keep an eye out for our website. It's our goal to really help support them in their work as we can, because it's really important that the bird has a safe place to go in the winter. We only have just a couple of minutes left, so just wanted to ask Eric or Claudia if you have any thoughts you wanted to leave our folks with. We'll definitely find another time so that we can talk again in a little bit less hectic moment. But Eric, do you want to close this out with any?
Yeah, I just wanted to thank Claudia and Eric for joining us today, and hopefully we can continue the dialogue. You know, the Golden-cheeked Warbler is obviously a huge focus of what we do in the United States, and I just love, you know, partnering up with these organizations that are working on conservation of the birds down in Latin America. So thanks so much for joining us, and we hope to continue to work with you.
Wonderful. Thank you very much for inviting us. We'll be happy to talk in any other opportunity and work with you guys. It's very important. We also, in our conservation plan, we have a strategic line for making connections, of course, with the breeding grounds. So it's wonderful to be in touch with you guys. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you so much. And thank you, Eric, for joining us. We'll make sure we figure out the daylight savings time next time.
Yeah.
Any final words, Nicole?
No, thank you all for being here.
Right.
Thank you, Claudia and Eric. Thanks so much.
Thanks everyone for joining us. Bye-bye.
Thank you for all your comments. Bye-bye.
Thank you.